You can draw this in Procreate. In this super easy tutorial, I will show you how you can use a photo of your favorite animal and turn it into a neon artwork. The canvas I'm working on is 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels, and I have left a link to the color palette down in the description so you can use the same colors as I'm using. And then if you're ready, let's get started. The first step is to import a photo. You can use the same photo as I'm using. I will leave a link to that in the description. Or of course you can use a photo of your own pet or your favorite animal, whatever you like. So we need to go to the wrench, then to add, and then tap insert a photo. And then I'll import this photo of a cat. Then you can tap the arrow, or if you want to like make your image bigger or smaller, move it around, they can do that at this point. And then tap the arrow to get out of there and then lower the opacity of this layer. So we'll go to the layer menu, then tap the N, and then use the slider and set it to, well, let's say somewhere around 45%. And then tap the plus for a new layer. Then for our brush, I'd like to use the Studio Pen. And the size is at 10%. Maybe 10% is nice. And the opacity should be at 100%. And then for the color, let's start with this orange color. But of course you can use any color you like. Any of these neon colors will work. So I'll go for the orange. And then we'll want to add lines around the main features. We can start, for instance, over here. And just create a line around the outer edge of the cat. And that will stop here. And then here we can have another line along that jawline almost. And try to simplify it a bit. So here we have a simple shape for the ear. Here we have the other ear. And you can use less pressure for some thinner lines. That will go over the top of the head. We can go to the front of the face here. And then here for the mouth, we can use some thinner lines. And then we have like the chin section, something like this. And you could also make the brush a little bit smaller for some thinner lines. You could switch between 10% and 4%. And then for the eyes, you could use some thinner lines. And then have a line over here and over here. So we have that eye. And then for the nose, let's just roughly follow those outlines. Here we'll go towards the eye. We can make one line going like this, maybe towards the head. Connect this, keeping it nice and a little bit abstract. And then we can move on with the rest of the body. Let's rotate, let's set the size to 10% again, and then move along the back here, making a smooth line. And the undo option is your friend here, of course. You can undo as many times as you like until you have the line that you like. Then we'll go along the tail all the way here. And then here we can make that upper leg. And then over here, we can make a line like this. Trying to imagine where that leg is. And then here we can make another line like this for that hind leg, using a bit less pressure. Then let's switch to the smaller size again, 4% for some more thin lines. Here we can make a curved line along the tail. And here I can see the front like paw. And maybe we can also make a little line here for that ear. Now let's go ahead and make a layer underneath this. And because now we have all like the main outlines, the major shapes. Now we can make another layer. Let's tap this one and then tap the plus. And here we can just make some extra lines that follow the flow of the body. Let's start with this blue, but you can also use another color if you like. 5th color. And then let's just go in and follow some of these shapes and also the curves of the body. And also over here and maybe some here. Just following the curve, and perhaps some on the tail. And we can add some on the face. Maybe following the nose bridge here. And maybe a little bit of this fur pattern. We can also switch colors. We can also use this 4th color, this brighter blue, adding even more of these lines, maybe in the ear. And maybe some like following the neckline. Just shaping around the body, following the curves. And we can follow this piece of fur. Maybe one more for this curve. And this shape over here. I hope you're having fun so far creating your own neon animal. If you want to learn even more fun tricks for Procreate or really build up your skills, your drawing and painting skills, then my Patreon is the place to go for you. I have more than 200 Procreate drawing and painting tutorials waiting there for you. And yes, there are definitely also cats. So if you're interested, I would love to see you there. I will just leave a link for you down in the description. But now let's continue. And let's also color in the eyes. With this color, first make a pupil shape, then create a closed shape around it, like this, and then drag in the color. And then do the same over here. So first, the pupil shape, then a closed shape around it, and then we can drag in the color like this. Now let's make another layer on top. Let's tap the plus, and this time let's go for the pink colors, like the 3rd color here. And let's make some more shapes, just filling in some gaps. Let me retry that. And maybe in between here. You can make some lines around this one. Perhaps this curve over here, even longer. You can add some more like around the face, maybe in between these two. And in the ear. And maybe some like curves over here. And maybe we can follow this shape. And then maybe add some more of these rounded shapes. And then maybe also some on the tail. Again, following those curves. Otherwise, the shapes will get lost. And we still want our animal to be recognizable when we turn off the photo. So you can check every once in a while, turning that photo off, seeing if it looks like a cat or whatever animal you are creating. And then you can move on. Let's make some whiskers, for example. Let's tap the plus. Let's pick this purple color, 6th color, and then let's go in here and create some whiskers. Now I do want the layer to be on top of the others. So this line will go over the other color. So you can drag it to the top and then make these whiskers with these quick motions. Like this. And then before we turn this into like a real neon effect, first I'd like to add some more color variety. So the way we can do that is by going to this layer, for example, with our first lines, tap that layer and then turn on alpha lock. This way we can start painting on these lines without adding anything extra, without painting outside of the lines. Then we'll go to the airbrushing brushes and pick the soft brush. And then, for instance, we can use this 4th color. And let's check our size. The opacity of the brush is at 70%. Let's set the size at 25. And then we can create a little gradient. Add some blue here on these lines. And maybe we can also add some red, or like a deep orange, the 2nd color. And add some of that over here. And over here, wherever you like. And let's do the same on this layer. Let's tap it, turn on alpha lock. And then on this layer, let's use that purple, that 6th color. And add a bit of purple to these lines, just in some areas. And then finally, for the whiskers at the top, let's tap that layer, turn on alpha lock, and then let's first add some pink, the 3rd color. Let's add that to the ends. It's very subtle, but I like it. And then let's switch to the 1st color and add a little bit of that to the ends here. Maybe make the brush a little bit smaller. Let's go for 8%. So we have a bit more control, like this. And then let's go to this layer and put a layer on top of this. So we'll tap this and tap the plus. Then we'll grab a black. You can double tap here to pick pure black and then drag it onto your canvas. Then the next thing we'll do is merge these top layers on which we have the lines. So don't merge it with the black. So you can pinch these together like this. And then we'll duplicate this layer. You can slide to the left, tap duplicate, then tap the N and scroll down to add to change the layer blending mode of this layer. Then we'll go to the move and transform tool, the little arrow here, and we will shift this layer very slightly upward and to the left. You can also just tap at the top and to the left to very slowly move this around, but you need a very slight shift. Then let's go back to the layer menu, and then we'll go to this bottom layer again, and we'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, put that at the top so you can just drag and hold it. Then tap the N again and set this to add as well, but this time we are going to blur it. So we'll go to the magic wand and then to Gaussian blur, and then with your pen on the screen, slide to the right, just slightly. So let's go for 10%. Then tap the magic wand, and then again, duplicate this bottom layer, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom one, set this to add as well. So slide down to add. And now we are going to blur this one even more. Let's go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right, and this will really give a nice glow. Let's go for 23%. And then tap the magic wand again. So now we have a really nice neon effect. You could take this up a little notch by pinching all the layers together. So the black one at the bottom and the other layers. And then you could go to the magic wand and then to bloom and then slide to the right on your screen, and you can add even more glow to these lines. And you'll have to see, it depends on your lines and on the animal you have picked, how much you would like to add. This is a great way to add a subtle extra glow. And if you'd like to see the before and after, you can just tap on your screen and use this preview option to turn it on and off. And then once you're happy, you can just tap the magic wand again to get out of there. And there's your neon animal. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share your work, and I'll see you next time for the next tutorial.